yeah, ride doing ride and all that. So I was wondering, why don't people use the internet? Like, why don't people use the internet to learn how, or to know how to do? Like, people use the internet to know about, to know who, to know when, to know what. But I feel like people don't use the internet enough to learn how to do something, to know how to do something. Like, people will say, how do I do, like I said this in a previous video, how I don't know how to work out. That's why I don't go to the gym, or when I'm at home, I just don't know what to do. And I tell them, I could sit here and tell you, and I'll be happy to tell you what a workout is like and how to do everything. But when I learned, I went on the internet and I read about it so I could know that what I'm doing is the right thing. You can watch videos where people do the exercise and they talk to you while they do it, and you can mimic exactly what they're doing, so you know that you're doing the exercises right. They'll talk to you about the intensity, how you should feel. You can pause it, slow it down, try something different. They'll tell you how to adjust it, everything. So I don't just want to focus on exercise, because this is not just about exercise. Sometimes there will be maybe something at work. They'll be showing us a program. Actually, this did happen. They were showing us the program Manage Back some years back at another school. And this management system was pretty, I wouldn't say complicated, but it was a bit involved if you haven't used anything like that. It wasn't all that intuitive to really know what to do, where, and how. And I just don't learn that well in that type of situation, like sitting there and someone is going screen to screen and having you try this and talking to you, and there's a bunch of other people. It's not really my thing. But I didn't sweat it, because I was thinking to myself, there are probably tons of videos out there explaining this system. So I can watch the video and, I can log into the system and I can learn how to do it. And I think that about a lot of things. I remember my homeboy saying he learns how to cook. He just watches a video. May not become an expert, but you can learn a lot. And it just boggles my mind sometimes that people will, one time, I know I go off in these tangents. One time I spilled some grape juice on a light colored carpet. This is before I had kids. I was the kid. It was me and my wife at the time, and she was on vacation. And I spilled some grape juice on the carpet, and I was like, fuck, you know what? She's going to have a fit. So I ended up looking up, because I just remembered from like sitcoms or something that you use, I don't know, salsa water or something like that. But anyway, I looked it up online about how to get rid of this stuff, because usually I remember them saying back in the days, grape juice doesn't come out. It's one of those things that doesn't come out. But I looked it up, and I like to see like my chances of figuring out something just by doing it myself, not having an expert. How close can I get to solving my problem without an expert? So I looked it up, and I was able to follow the directions and get the grape juice out. Now, I'm not saying that you should do this for everything. Some of us are WebMD have WebMD as our insurance. I'm not even sure if WebMD is still out there, but when I didn't have insurance, I looked up everything. That's not great, but it was the option that I had. And some people, they don't really have an option besides looking up the ways to take care of themselves, looking up what might be wrong with them, and trying to remedy that in some kind of, in a DIY home remedy kind of way. So it's another way people who are resourceful use the internet. Some people use it as a last resort, or they have someone else do it for them. But I didn't grow up with the internet. I've told you before, I'm in my mid-40s. I didn't grow up with the internet, and I actually adopted it pretty late. But once I did, I was just thinking, oh my God, there's a lot of entertainment here, of course, but there's so much to know. And not only know, which is probably what I do the most, I probably just read for information, and the information is my entertainment. But I've learned how to do so many things. Sometimes it's just looking up something about my car and seeing if it's something I can fix myself. And And then other times it's like I said, a crypto course, whole course on something. People have sets of documents. There are free courses. Like I said, there's a video. The other day, I wanted to do fraction dominoes in my classroom. I forgot how to play dominoes, but it wasn't just that. I needed a way to play it in my class where I can pull it off in 40 minutes. And for the amount of kids I had, the type of environment, the game had to be customized a bit. And I found a video that worked perfectly. There's a video for everything, So I'm often surprised at how people don't use the internet enough to know how. Anyway, what else is on my mind today? On my mind also is Ice Cube. Ice Cube offered Caitlin Clark, the star basketball player at Iowa University, $5 million to play in the Big 3. Dude, $5 million? No woman player is getting anywhere near that money. And this is not about saying they shouldn't. It's about like the maximum WNBA salary I read is like $97,000 or something like that. I know they can make more money overseas. But for him to offer that kind of money, he obviously believes that she's going to bring that kind of money to the Big 3. If you don't know what that is, the Big 3 is a professional basketball league. It's pretty high quality basketball, actually. A lot of ex-NBA players and really high quality non-NBA players play in the Big 3. And Ice Cube, the rapper, he's the founder of the Big 3. Now, Caitlin Clark is a basketball phenomenon. She's just broken all kinds of women's scoring records and everything like that. Has a huge following. So he's offering her a lot of money to come play, bring awareness to the league, most likely. I'm wondering if, there's a little bit of Tim Tebow, Jimmer Fredette in her game. I don't know. But, someone in comments, a WNBA player, wrote him on Twitter or X and said, so no women's player in the WNBA has been worth money before this, valid question. And then somebody else said, well, no other WNBA player can bring the type of exposure to the Big 3 like Caitlin Clark can. And I was thinking, well, if Caitlin Clark doesn't play well, then I don't know about that. And I mean, I saw there's like, you got former NBA players and you got, as good as she is, I can't see her competing like that. And then people brought up the fact that even in the college game, there are players who might be as good or better. So I don't know, it's the jump in money. Maybe, there could be terms of that contract that we don't know. But the jump in money from what top WNBA players are getting paid, and I'm assuming the top players get beyond the max salary. I think they may get a lot more than that. There may be like allocations for the top players or whatever. But the jump from whatever it is to 5 million, and for Ice Cube to offer it to Caitlin Clark, I don't know. That's I don't know if that's the greatest look. So anyway, what else is on my mind? Also, your name. So sometimes I think about my name. My mom named me Roderick or Roderick. I'm still not sure which way to pronounce it. I'll go my whole life like that. And then my middle name is Marquise. And I used to feel like Marquise, my middle name, was the cooler name. So I would, I didn't mind telling people my name was Roderick, but Marquise was the one that I just felt was cooler. So I'd probably go with before my first name. And even in my yearbook in junior high school, they wrote like a little funny line about everybody. And they wrote for me, he would finally know if he wants people to call him Roderick or Marquise. Like they said, in the future, something about you in the future. And they said, I would finally know whether I want people to call me Roderick or Marquise. But as I got older, I started being more into Roderick. I felt it was a bit more unique. I'm not sure which one is more common. I have met and come across a bunch of Rodericks, but I feel like every Roderick that I've come across has been pretty unique. Most of the time, a little weird, a little strange, but definitely memorable. And I've started to identify with Roderick a lot more as I got older, especially Rod. I feel like I am a Rod. Now, I feel like Rod is a thing. Like if you like a Rod, a guy who's a Rod, he's a thing, Like you feel like a guy can act a certain way and you say, yeah, that's a Rod, definitely. Certain names, they have a certain vibe to them. They have a story. Like that's a Joe. My best friend, he's Joe, and he's definitely a Joe. He's a Joe. My other boy, my main man, Bells, Joe. His name is Joe. He's a Joe. Like a Joe. If you know a Joe, like think about it. You're like, yeah, he's such a Joe. It's just certain like, and then other names. It's like, like I don't know, like what's a David like? I don't think a David is like anything. When I think of a David, I don't really think of a David being anything. But other names, like, yeah, that's let me think of a name like that. A Simon. A Simon is a certain thing, right? Simon. Just certain names. It's like, what's your name? Are you that name? Are you a Kevin? A Dwayne is a thing. Definitely a Dwayne. Do people still name their kids Dwayne? Like, I feel like people stopped naming their kids Dwayne a while ago, because who would just name their kid Dwayne these days? It's super corny to name your kid Dwayne, It's like a mix of two names, and the other name we quite don't know what it is. It's something with a D. And Wayne. Wayne is cool. A Wayne, that's a guy. That's a guy there. Like we know who Wayne is, We definitely know who Wayne is. But Dwayne, I don't know. We don't really know who that guy is, These days, I mean, we know there's the two famous Dwaynes that I know, Dwayne Wade and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But besides that, like, what's a Dwayne? Why didn't you just name him Wayne? Why did you put the D? It's almost like it should have an apostrophe, like D apostrophe Wayne, like, like he spearheaded something in the French Revolution or something, I don't know about Dwayne. But yeah, what's your name, and are you one of those names? I didn't even say any female names. It shows how like male centric my mind is, I gotta think of like, what's a Catherine like, what's a Sally, and even the names. Look at the names like Sally. Like, who knows a Sally? What is Sally short for? What is Sally short for? Because no one's name can't just be Sally, right? Sallard? No one's name's definitely no one's name is Sallard. What is Sally short for? I don't know. Anyway, and what else was I thinking about today? I think that was it. There was something else that I can't quite think. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, there was a comment on one of my videos, and there was a student, apparently, I'm assuming it was a student, who left a comment, and it said, yo, you're a teacher at blah, 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 the school I work at. And it's hilarious because, I've been doing content for years, fam, like 20 years. I was an early adopter in YouTube. I didn't take it quite seriously enough, but I've been doing content of all types for years. I mean, if you talk about music, if you talk about just getting in front of this camera and blogging, if you talk about just a lot. I've been doing content for a while, and I've been a teacher. I've been working in schools for a long time. No student has ever found me on any platform, and I've been on many, and no student has ever found me. My view count is low. my subscriber count is low. And it's just ironic because I was talking about that teacher. What's her name? Honey Dipping or something like that. And she had gotten her school had found out about her rap career and she got fired, I guess. And I was talking about making content as a teacher and how it can be a little risky. And 2 days later or 1 day later, a student finds my YouTube. It's hilarious, and by the way, that teacher, I heard she she started blowing up afterwards. Heard her music started blowing up afterwards, so she's probably like, it's lit, but for me it won't be. I'm just gonna be out of a job. But only rods. Got the backup plan, only rods and crypto. So, let's pray that this halving happens, and then it's really gonna be lit. I'm Rod doing Rod. Y'all take it easy. Peace.